Make it. We start our meetings with a public comment period. And so the public is invited to come to the podium, tell us your name and address, and you have 2 minutes. We hope that you can keep your comments to 2 minutes to share any of your thoughts with us. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to participate in public comment?
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Katrina Hurley, and I live at 415 East Howard Street in Winona. And I also am here on behalf of the City of St. Charles, where I work in community and economic development. First, I want to thank the commissioners who have listened to the concerns raised by residents over the past few weeks. The fact that this discussion is continuing for the library funding shows that public participation matters. We've heard comments suggesting that the response to the proposed library funding reductions may be an overreaction because no final decision has been made. Respectfully, I believe that this is the exact right time for these conversations to be had. The purpose of public engagement is not to wait until after the decision has been made. It's to provide information, perspectives, and community input while decisions are still being shaped. We would much rather bring our concerns directly to our county commissioners now than wait till after the vote is done and complain online. This is how the local government should work. Public response to this campaign has been overwhelmingly positive, and residents across the county understand that the public libraries are not simply a place to check out books, they're part of our social infrastructure. Libraries provide internet access to residents who cannot afford it at home. They loan Wi-Fi hotspots, especially at St. Charles, to people who search for jobs, complete schoolwork, and access essential services. Librarians help to create the resumes and submit applications, navigate the online systems, and connect them to resources in the community. These services do not create dependencies, they help build independence. After this meeting, the City of St. Charles will be emailing you all a packet of numbers to show how our St. Charles librarian, Jill, has been able to stretch every single public dollar to make the most out of the contributions, as well as donations. But we cannot rely on those to be able to make our libraries run. Reducing the funding does not reduce demand. It does not reduce the number of residents who need internet access, job search assistance, programming, materials, or a safe public place to learn and connect. It only reduces the resources available to serve them. County residents continue to use the St. Charles, Winona, and La Crescent public libraries. And if these are regional services, then regional funding should continue to support them. We are here early because we want to help shape the responsible decision before it's made. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to participate in public comment?
Good morning. My name is Mary Farrell. I live at 665 West 5th Street in Winona. I am a board member of the Friends of the Winona Public Library. I serve as their secretary. I too just wanted to respond to the article that was in the Winona Post that this was an overreaction by the library and the advocacy group of the Friends. But I really thought it was a proactive move that we were informed about this proposed cut, so we thought we should do something about that rather than sit back and not work towards trying to speak to all of you and let you know that we do want to continue funding and not to have those cuts. But I understand completely that budgets are difficult and that you have a lot in front of you and some changes are, on the federal level and such. So I don't envy you. I do see that you have after I think the board adjourns, a possible discussion with Selco freezing. And the library would be very much in favor of freezing the current amount that you have given to the library. So I would just like to, as an advocate for the library, that I am in favor of those discussions and in favor of those freezes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to share their thoughts with us? Please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Judy Casper with a C, 1651 Valley View Drive, Winona, Minnesota. I'm here as a Winona person who grew up in the library. And, libraries are free. They're safe. They are so important to our communities. There is a place for everyone and opportunities for all, as I listened about the computer access and how important that is. And I'm really stressing our community and opportunities for entertainment, for, there's movies, there's book clubs, there's so many things for children. Winona, story time and lunch in the park. What can be better? When I looked at the schedule of our Winona Public Library online, the days are packed with all of these wonderful events for families, for everyone. Not everyone has funds to do things, and it's packed with them. And growing up, our kids were in schools and they could bring home Scholastic Book Fair and you could buy things. I never bought them. We were on a budget. We were a little family on a budget. And years later, they said, Mom, you'd never buy it. We didn't even bring them home. But guess where we went every week? Winona Public Library. Our county residents need St. Charles, La Crescent, Winona. We need these libraries to be accessible to everyone. And like I said, when I looked at the whole agenda for people, for all the things that these staff and these libraries do on a daily basis, I thought to myself, wow, I wonder if they even get a lunch break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to share their thoughts with us? Likewise, if you are online, I am thinking that you can unmute yourself. Please do so. And say something so that you get our attention. Otherwise, I will ask 2 more times. Is there anyone else here? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. And try to limit your comments to 2 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Adam Gaffey. I live at 825 43rd Avenue. I'm a resident of Goodview, and I've lived there with my family for the past 10 years. Libraries are for everyone. And even as hot as it is outside,
Yeah.
and I know that making decisions about budgets can feel very hot, very fraught. I think that this is a vital decision that's in front of you. As a library serves a community, it provides space not only for feeding curiosity and feeding literacy, but also for feeding thoughtfulness that grows over time. Literacy rates are going up or down. They're going down. Polarization is going up or down. It's going up. I think decisions like this are so important for giving a community that cornerstone, for providing space for young and old people, people who live in the city, people who live in a surrounding area, people who just need that access, just need that focal point to grow into the best people that they can be. So it's no coincidence that a library is the foundation of a society, right, going back millennia. And this feels like a really important decision right now. So our future selves are going to be looking back and asking, what did we do now to help literacy rates, to help young people and old people and all people in between read and get those ideas? And what did people now do to decide how we were going to live our best selves together, right? And I think the library is the space for that. So I'm here on behalf of my family, who is always engaged in the library and always bringing those values together. And it's part of our experience. I hope you can make that decision to keep it part of our experience in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here or online that would like to share their thoughts with us? And for the final time, is there anyone in the audience or online that wants to participate in our public comment period? Hearing none, public comment is closed. We will move on to our regular business. I think we have some committee minutes that we might want to approve.
So move. I'll second. 4.1, 4.2 at the same time? Commissioner Holding? 3.1.
3-1. Okay.
I apologize. Yep.
Yep, that's okay. You still second it?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Elsing moves, Commissioner Vagley seconds approval of the county board minutes from June 23rd, 2026. Is there any further any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If you are opposed, say no. Motion carries. We have some additional minutes.
I jumped the gun. I'll move to approve items 4.1 and 4.2. Second.
Okay, Commissioner Vagley moves, Commissioner Olson seconds approval of the Planning Commission from April 16th of this year. and the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee meeting from June 16th of this year. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. If anyone's opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Okay, we move on to our agenda and consent. County Attorney Sonneman, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
Okay, Commissioner Wrigley,
A few comments at the end, please.
Commissioner Elsing,
Comments at the end.
Commissioner Olson,
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Ward.
I would like to pull 6.4 for a little bit clarity and a little bit of discussion. And then I have two committee updates at the end, please.
Okay, so we'll make that 7.0. And you right away under general business, and you have some committee reports?
Yes.
I will just make a brief comment about spongy moth eradication because it's over. Okay. So there's a slight adjustment to our agenda. Would anyone like to move to approve it?
So move. Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Elsing moves, Commissioner Ward seconds approval of the agenda as it was amended. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. If anyone's opposed, say nay. Okay, the agenda is approved. Administrator Holte, can you read the consent business for the record?
Absolutely. 6.1, approve interim use permit for Mark J. Henderson Family Trust and Brenda L. Henderson Family Trust. 6.2, approve Winona County abatement policy. 6.3, award bid for 2 dump box and snowplow packages to Universal Truck Equipment and Incorporated. 6.4 was pulled. 6.5, approve, award and approve 2027 to 2031 recycling collection services contract to Harder's Quick Cleanup. And 6.6, confirm payment of disbursements.
Is there a motion to approve the consent business?
So move. Second.
Okay, Commissioner Elsing moves, Commissioner Olson seconds approval of the consent business as it was read. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, please say nay. Consent business is passed. So we move on to what was 6.4, which is now 7.0 under general business. Approve the letter of agreement for the LELS 537 union dispatchers.
Okay, and I pull this because it's something different we're doing. We've had a lot of people reach out to us about dispatch and showing concern. And maybe this is a short-term help. It's an additional lump sum retention payment to the people there. I am a little concerned, though. We're going out 26, 27, and 28. So even if, and we were indicated that we had a large pool of candidates. So will all these anybody new hires, does it also apply to the people that are currently in those seats in the dispatch? And then a lump sum payment, can we consider it a tip so they don't have to pay taxes on it? Because anytime you give somebody a pay raise, it's not just the pay raise, it's all the other things that get tagged on with a pay raise. And so sometimes it's not a pay raise. Sometimes it actually puts you in a different income tax bracket, which is, it shouldn't, but I mean, I've heard of people having that problem. I understand it, retention. Does it set up a Me Too policy? We're doing this for one small group. When union, and this is a union position, will it continue? That is a concern of mine. And then long-term, I know the legislation changed I think the classification or something for dispatch. They have a new retirement policy and everything. I'm not up to speed on it, but I did read some things about it, and which I agree. I mean, dispatchers are on a different professional level than some other positions. And they tried to get themselves more aligned with like law enforcement and fire and safety types of positions, I believe, through their union negotiations. So Todd, you can answer all my questions.
Well, I tried to write them all, Commissioner. Todd Sadler, Director of Human Resources. So for one, I've done these retention incentives before, not here, but other places. As far as a tax, I can't do anything. The IRS regulates that. But it is a limited time. It's got an expiration date. So once somebody passes 6-month probation or they've been here 6 months, they'll get the first 2,500. They'd have to get the second 2,500 by December of 2028. So that's the 18 months. So we're looking at potentially a cost of 47,500 total
For the 3 years or?
for
just
the, well, it's not,
When
you've
it's
got
done, it's cool.
your first 6 months right after you pass. And then you have the retention for being here for a period of time by December of 2028.
And I
And-
hope that it's not just time served. There is some performance evaluation that warrants getting this retention bonus.
Well, they have to pass probation. I mean, they have to pass their probation according to the MOU. As far as the Me Too clause, there is no Me Too clause on it. I mean, we're not having the other issues with the other unions. This, we're at a situation where we're down below our minimums to continue up, with their operations. That's why we have the rice steel. This is another way of looking at getting the retention, keeping the people we have, so we don't lose more. The Me Too continuous, it's time sensitive. As far as the retirement, a lot of states are doing that. They're putting them in their retirement fund because they should be seen as their piece of our, safety. Like law enforcement, firefighters.
Does that affect us monetarily?
Will it affect us? Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually it's going to, yeah, because we have to put more into
More into
their,
it,
yeah, yeah. So this doesn't account for that. It's not a bonus, it's a retention incentive pay. So as far as treating it as a tip, we can't do that. I mean, I understand, with the federal regulations for tips, waitresses and wait staff and stuff like that, they get that, but we can't serve that.
We can
So-
try.
We can try. So that's 4 of the questions. Did I miss?
That answers most. of it. I
Okay.
mean, I understand the need to do this and everything. I just think that it may have implications going forward. So with that retention, then when we advertise or we hire a new person in dispatch, then that's automatically considered into the pay scale?
We can't. Minnesota statute states we have to put them in. I mean, as far as the pay scale, this isn't part of the pay scale. It's an incentive pay. So, I mean, certainly we can state that after 6 months, you can, receive this, but so.
Vaguely, and don't go because Commissioner Elsing has.
I'll
Okay.
defer to Commissioner Elson. You seem like you had
Go
something
for it.
that was more time sensitive.
Yeah, I just wanted to be on that question originally on that side. So my thing, and I can appreciate Commissioner Ward's thought process. Hey, is this set a precedent? Now everybody else
Yeah,
is going to come in here.
I get it.
And I get it. In desperate times, desperate measures, and we're trying something. So I commend what we're trying to do to try to have a relatively inexpensive way to encourage people to stay. And this is very common in the private sector to do
Yeah,
this,
it is.
especially in the healthcare field.
Yeah.
Because that's ultra competitive to keep people.
Yeah.
So, so very common policy, and quite honestly, it's relatively not expensive in my mind. I mean, this is not a whole lot of money to try to do this. I've seen some pretty crazy incentive pays out there. My wife's been in the healthcare field for 30 years. So, and we've taken advantage of a few of those. So, but at the end of the day, the couple questions that I had with this is, can we abandon the program if we preset a date? In other words, and this is the legality aspect of this, we're saying this term of agreements through December 31st, 2028. What happens if we have an influx of people and we don't see the need for this anymore? Can we stop it prematurely and say, hey, we don't really need to pay this anymore? We've got an abundance of people. It's the far side to what this might be.
Good faith, I would say no. I mean, in good faith bargaining, I mean, we've agreed with LES on it.
So we're stuck once we do this, regardless of whether we have 50 applicants and we don't really need them anymore, we're still.
Yeah, but we still got to keep them, right? And that's some of the turnover. Part of this is that
I
retention.
understand that. I'm just saying the hypothetical is this is permanent. We're not going to be able to get out of it type of a
Yeah,
situation.
my advice as a labor professional, no, we wouldn't do that, but.
I'm not saying to the employee, if we hire them under this pretense, we need to follow it
Yeah.
out. But let's just say we get to a
Yeah.
point where we don't feel we need it.
Yeah.
We're obligated to keep this until December 28th.
Yeah, because it has a sunset that you pass until
So
December.
my note here is, can we early sunset this?
Yeah.
And the answer is no.
Yeah.
So once we agree to this,
Yeah.
and on that note, I've just, that's the business side. I mean, hey, what's our out clause?
Yeah.
Can we get out of this? I guess I don't see the problem going away. That's the issue. So I would agree to this just simply because I think it's not just localized. This is a problem everywhere. So this is gonna help, but I don't think it's gonna eliminate the issue.
I agree. And Commissioner, I mean, when we put this together, I looked at it historically. I've done them before. And it's not something you just throw out there.
No.
I mean, you look at our trends, we've had this trend with the dispatch for some time, and hopefully this will, level it, but I'm not saying it's going to fix it.
Commissioner
No.
Bailey. Oh, were you done?
The only other thing I was gonna suggest is, can we put a clause in there as part of this agreement that gives us an out, that says, hey, if we no longer see the demand issue, we have the right to rescind this on a 6-month such and such, right? So we're not forced to pay out another $20,000-$30,000 we may not need to.
I don't.
Would they agree? I mean, it's just simply them agreeing. to
Yeah.
it, You know,
You have to, I think, renegotiate it, and Greg Griffiths is the attorney for that the county uses for labor negotiations. Would have to, I think, get involved, but I mean, as it's written now,
I don't
it
know.
would
if it's-
reopen negotiations.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we want to go through that. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Is that it?
that's it.
I'll move to approve this item to get it up on the table.
I'll second it.
And I want to indicate that I strongly support this, and I want to thank Mr. Sadler, Ms. Holte, the sheriff, the chief deputy, and Ben Klinger for working on this. If anything, not only do I strongly support it, like you've mentioned in the private sector and in other aspects of the public sector, this is common market adjustments. And this is perhaps the most important part, or one part of the most important part of the county, literally life and death issues. If anything, I think it should be more. This is not going to go away. I wish it would go away in a year or two, but this took a long time to get us to this point. It's going to take us a while. And this is only one piece of the short-term problem. So if anything, I would even support a larger retention bonus, but I'll go with this for now. But I strongly support this. Thank you, Mr. Sadler. Thank you, Ms. Holte. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yeah. Commissioner Olson.
We can always go up. I'm sure they'll take it.
Would you like to?
I think we start with this.
Mr. Ward?
And I do support it because I know it's a problem and everything. the precedent we're setting and such. So at $5,000 for the first, 18 months, what's that work out to be? 10 cents an hour? How did you come up with the 25? Where did that magical figure come from?
Yeah, so looking at what other, I think the Twin Cities, they did an incentive. One of the counties, Still County maybe, one of the Goodhue, they had an incentive. I looked at what I did in the past. This is very similar to what I did in the past, looking at the statistics on, is it successful? Where I came from, it was successful. I know Des Moines Metro is different than here, but it was very successful. So that's what I looked at.
So how much an hour is it?
So 5,000, 2,080. Gosh, I could usually do math in my head. I'm getting a little older, maybe.
2,100.
It's-
I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your calculator out. I
Sorry.
mean, it's not, unfortunately, it's really not a lot.
Because you're on an 18 months, if you take 2080 times 1.5, you're at
One
3120.
Is this a leap year, 2088? No, it's 2080. Sorry.
It's $1 something an hour, roughly $1.60 something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Again, is it gonna solve the problem?
Hope so.
I think it's a Band-Aid on a bigger.
One part. of
Yeah, it's a
multiple parts.
Band-Aid
Yeah.
on a bigger issue. Yeah,
Is there further discussion?
let's try it.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think we need to vote.
So we
Um,
need to vote.
Yep.
Motion by Commissioner Vagley, seconded by Commissioner Meyer to approve the letter of agreement for LELS 537 dispatchers. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 If anyone's opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just, so the public knows, we're not trying to not solve a problem. I mean, there was a lot of outreach about this and everything. And so it is just a small step, to try and fix a problem. So we are trying to address it. And that's one of the reasons I pulled it too, so the public understands that it is an issue and we are trying to address it.
Very-
And thank you
thank
for
you.
trying. Thank you.
Thanks.
And there's more coming. This is just one piece of the puzzle. This is retention. So.
We now move on to item 7.1, receive presentation from the DNR and approve proposed boundary change, which I believe is to John Latch State Park. Are you Mr. Fox?
I am. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. I'll try to be very brief. My name is Jimmy Fox. I'm the manager for Carly, John Latch, and Whitewater State Parks. I'm here to talk about John Latch this morning with you. John Latch State Park, if you're not familiar, was established in 1925 via a donation of 350 acres by, of course, Mr. Latch and another landowner. And the park is located in the northeast corner of the county. The statutory boundary established by the legislature for the park is around 1,500 acres. Currently, the acreage owned by the state and the public is about 450 acres. The purpose for the park is to protect and perpetuate natural resources for the state of Minnesota and for the use, enjoyment, and understanding of those resources without impairment for future generations. So I'm here today because a private landowner approached DNR in January with a desire to sell their acreage to DNR. And a half an acre of that acreage is actually outside of the statutory boundary of the park. So the legislature requires that DNR approach the county and seek support, endorsement, approval of that statutory boundary adjustment. And that's why I'm here this morning. There should be a map and a copy of my letter in your packet. So the ask for you is, if you could develop a resolution or a letter, or even just approve or support this statutory boundary adjustment, even in your meeting minutes, that would be much appreciated. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Begley.
I would like to move to approve this request.
You go ahead.
Second. This is, in my mind, a no-brainer. It matches the vision of John Latch. The landowner is willing to do it. It's a beautiful state park in a unique location. We actually have one of the local experts and historians on John Latch, Miss Farrell, here in the audience today. We should give her 10 minutes to talk more about John Latch. But no, I think this is a no-brainer, and I hope that we can approve it.
Commissioner Ward.
It does make sense. It's only half an acre, but I will have to put a ploy in that the DNR needs to pay more payment in lieu of property taxes. Because even though it's just a half an acre, you start chipping away at our property tax base, that impacts everybody out here. Now they're gonna have to make up that half an acre property tax that the DNR took. And I know you can't control it, but you can advocate for a reasonable payment in lieu of taxes for any land that the state of Minnesota, the DNR, and the federal government likes to take away from us.
Being in a rural environment, that's probably, I'm not going to say it's in the top concern, but it's probably in the top 3 or 4 concerns that I hear a lot is, hey, as we've got a lot of resources that we're funding on a land base, that every time the DNR takes a piece of land, that actually goes against other people that are competing for the same land to make a living, and the tax base that's underneath of it that we have to pick up. So it is a real concern. Unfortunately, it paints a bit of a black eye for the DNR because they almost feel like they're in competition for the same piece of land, so I can, concur with Commissioner Ward's comments. So I support it. It's small, but again, our job is to represent what we hear, and that is something that comes up quite frequently in my conversations in the ag world. So,
Is there further discussion?
you related to Alan Fox?
I am not.
Okay, just curious.
Okay, Commissioner Vagley has moved, Commissioner Olson has seconded, receiving this presentation and approving the proposed boundary change for the park. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If anyone's opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Commissioner Olson has a question.
Will that be enough for your needs?
If that's recorded in the minutes, that would be sufficient.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Commissioner Ward?
I do have a question, though. Can the public hunt on that land?
Not currently open to hunting, but it
Okay,
can be.
it can be opened?
It could be.
It could be,
Small.
We have a special deer hunt in Whitewater State Park.
right, yeah, but not in,
Not currently.
okay, is that on the table or,
Could be.
okay?
Could be.
All right, I don't know if that's something that, and again, will the neighborhood adjoining landowners know now that that's DNR? You'll put up all your little signs and say, keep out? public
I
land?
have two letters I'm about to send to adjacent landowners.
Okay, you aren't gonna put up the keep out public land, are you?
There is no keep out
No.
signs for
Oh.
public.
Just public land, as it says.
About public land,
No.
Unless there's contamination or something
Okay,
like that,
all
for
right.
public safety.
okay.
And I do have a, something for the payment in lieu of taxes that I'll share with you.
Okay.
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, our next item, 7.2, is to discuss and determine the 2027 SEMSHRE allocation and approve the preliminary levy resolution. Do we have a representative from SEMSHRE here? Oh, awesome. Thank you. And I see we have a letter from Patty Harity, but that would
Yes,
not be you.
yep, not for me. My name's Justin Stotts. I'm the new CEO of SEMCRA. I started there in March, and Patty is our accountant, so she handles a lot of this. So good morning, commissioners. Yeah, I'm here for that preliminary levy request. Our request, as we put together, was $144,706, which is largely the same request that was made last year. I see the approval last year was 130,000. Based on our request, an owner of a $350,000 home, the estimated cost would be $10.38 for the year in tax, which is essentially unchanged to the property owner from last year because of the growing of the tax base. We're currently using about 16% of our statutory levy capacity, which is among the lowest in Minnesota. Three components make up that total. Really, it's the exact same as last year. Where 70,206 is a general fund request. Some general staffing, our housing coordinator addresses Section 8 shortfalls that we have. We administer the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program in the county. The second part, 49,500, is for community and housing development. And this is probably where you see the biggest return is we are having all our counties, or requesting all our counties, as we did last year, commit to a community development, a director in that department, which we do have hired, reorganization. So we have that, and a grant administrator who writes grants. And this also covers our administration of the Winona County Housing Trust Fund, the administration of statewide affordable housing aid grants. Also 15,000 for Lewiston, Parkview, and Greenview properties. Those are properties that we operate in Olmsted County. And a grant match to rehab. 25,000, the final number, I think there was a misprint. It says 25,500 on this sheet, but it's actually 25,000 even for the Housing Trust Fund as a local grant leverage. So the Housing Trust Fund that we administer, those funds are controlled by the county. Anytime there's an expenditure from that, we come to the county and ask for approval of that. So if those funds don't get used, they get rolled over into the next year for future projects. Over the last 10 years, every levy dollar has returned about $7.80 to the region. Across our service area, SEMCRA serves an average of 412 households on rental assistance, and we house over 900 people in our rental units last year, including many families right here in Winona County. We have roughly 4.3 million in open single-family rehab grants across the region, and SEMCRA itself pays about 21,000 in property tax to Winona County. So we're asking the board to approve that preliminary levy resolution, and I'm happy to take questions. I know Ms. Administrator Holte, you had reached out to me about going over figures, and I would like to do that with our accountant to go over in depth if there's any in-depth questions, but.
Mr. Elsie.
The 21,000, though, that's total, that's not our portion, correct? That's
Property
total.
taxes?
Correct.
No, we pay more than that in other counties, so that's 21,000 paid to Winona
Well,
only.
That's not that you pay 21,000 in taxes, but Winona County only receives a portion of that, correct? Or are you paying, Winona County's portion of it is 21,000?
Semcra pays 21,000 in property tax on our properties to Winona County.
But I think
What I'm saying is that gets divvied up amongst the state, us, the school district, everybody else. So we're not receiving.
Sure, that's that.
Our
total figure.
constituents are not, yes.
Yeah, correct.
So we only
Correct,
get a
sorry.
very small portion of that 21,000.
But I mean, the point being their properties are taxable.
Taxable,
for
yes.
property tax.
Yes, I'm looking at the offset of what we fund out versus what we receive. So that's where I'm at with this. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Ward?
Okay.
Were you
So-
done, Commissioner?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, thank you. And Justin's on a steep learning curve. Buffy Bronick had very big shoes and they're
Mhm.
hard to fill, but he's working
Absolutely.
diligently. A couple issues, and my song is the same. We did 130,000 last year. I have concerns of taking another $25,000 into the Housing Trust Fund because already Ms. Holte provided the balance on that is $89,168. So why we keep putting money into a, bank account? We're taking it from the taxpayers, putting it in that for the what if, say a grant or something comes along. I think the 89 is more than enough for a housing trust fund that, I know housing is going to change a lot. The federal legislation, I'm not sure how that changed everything, but it may. And I do have to ask, how much did you request from the city of Winona for us administrating their Section 8? Did you ask them for any levy dollars this year?
I am not aware that we made any request on that.
Okay.
I don't believe we have.
Okay, see, to me, that's very unfortunate because we're administering the Section 8. And yes, we get federal dollars to administer the Section 8, but I'm not sure that that covers the whole administration. And just even administering Section 8, it takes a lot of people. And I have heard stories in the past where that clientele is requiring more and more, for lack of term, better coordination, hand holding to get everything lined up and everything. And actually the Section 8 people are almost acting a lot of times as social workers trying to help these people navigate more than just the renting and everything. So, I mean, again, if we're providing a service for another government entity, I think they should be paying their fair share. And so not asking them for any local levy, I think is misrepresenting to my constituents, the rural constituents who pay this whole amount. So I would move that we keep the amount at the previous $130,000, taking basically that 25 out of the Housing Trust Fund and just doing the general funds and the community and housing development.
I just questioned that,
Yeah.
but that doesn't add up to are you saying 130?
We did 130 last year,
Right, but if you took the 25 out of there,
yeah.
it'd be less than that.
It'd be less than, so I'm giving a little bit, but I like to stay what we did last
Yeah,
year.
so roughly that'd be like about 10,000 into housing trust fund because you're reducing it by 15.
Yeah, at
My
least.
quick
hopefully we
math
do a
is
Total.
you're
rated cut
reducing it by
line.
What's your
14.
motion? I'm just trying to understand it. So I guess, but I
I
have a
think we
comment.
do what we did last year.
This is, we're gonna have a lot of these tough decisions because we're facing a third year of kind of some unprecedented tax hikes. And so in my mind, I look at things and say, do I look at the Housing Trust Fund as a slush fund? Not necessarily, but it is a fund that sits there that is somewhat dormant until needed, right? So to ask a taxpayer to continue to put something in when we faced historic tax increases, double-digit tax increases, and the pushback that we're getting from a lot of constituents in my area anyway, is we can't we're absorbing all these. What is the county doing? Why does the county have all this money sitting in all these little pockets, right? So the idea is when you get into these situations, you go into, hey, what's it take to just continue to do business? The nice and the need to things, the nice and the needs need to come into play. I say this just because I don't want you to think we make decisions just willy-nilly, right? So in my mind, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking for ways that, hey, we don't need to continue to contribute to something, especially if we feel it's somewhat stable. This has a direct impact on our rural constituents as we're footing the bill for a lot of this stuff. And we do get some pushback that, hey, I can barely afford to stay in my house, let alone build one for somebody else, right? So I was under the my impression of this was the same thing as the Housing Trust Fund, that I would just say, hey, let's do business as usual. The general fund expenditures went up a little bit. If we took that number plus the community and housing development number, we eliminated I'm going to say the Housing Trust Fund for this year, just because it is well funded. It has over a 3.5 year setback or continuance, I guess, at 89,000 would be 25,000, 3.5 times funded. So it's 3.5 years funded sitting there. So my thought process was, and I'll second your motion if you want to,
I'll amend my
Yeah.
motion to.
was the 70,206 and 49,500.
19,706.
And allow the community, the Housing Trust Fund to sit dormant for a year and let's reevaluate it next year. And if for some reason those fundings has gone down, we can revisit that. So this at least allows the general fund expenditures for the staffing and the risk mitigation to continue. And then we use that as a little bit of a variable. It saves our taxpayers money. We're not putting more money into something we may not need, right? And go from there. So that was going to be my motion to it. That's why I asked for clarity.
I'll amend my motion to approve funding at 119,706 for the 2026 or 2027 year.
I would second that motion.
There is a motion on the table. Commissioner Bagley.
Couple questions for you. First, two statements that will go two different directions. $89,000 in the world of housing development is nothing. You need to add a 0 or 2 zeros to that to look at real building projects. So in the grand scheme of things, $89,000 is money, but it's not a lot of money. It's a garage for some of these developments, et cetera. However, are there any current plans for any grant submissions that this leverage would assist with? Because if not, then I'm actually inclined to go with, I actually prefer the 130, but
Would you mind if I just made a comment on there? Because really what it is just to go after the grants.
Yes.
Not necessarily to fund the project. if
right,
that makes
but we
sense.
do
Yeah.
need matching funds for some of these
To some
grants,
extent, yeah.
for the grant requests, et cetera. But are there any current grants that you're going to go after that would require matching funds that you're aware of? And I realize you're probably still finding your feet, so I want to grant you some grace.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't have anything specific in Winona County at this point, but we've been looking to partner with Habitat to get a development of some kind going in the greater Winona County area. We do target state and local or SAHA dollars, state housing assistance grants, where a lot of times there's a lot of projects now that really require some type of skin in the game to push it over the edge. And the Housing Trust Fund, I don't see, I mean, in my knowledge that I've gathered in the 4 months I've been working with it is that it's not the funder of projects, but it's the bucket that helps push a project over the edge that then increases your tax base. And so it's a benefit in that way. And that's where we come up with that investment dollar, $1 is a return of 780. I don't have a specific project here, but we have been in contact with Three Rivers Community Action is working on a project in Goodhue County where they're using tax credit and they take a portion of the Housing Trust Fund dollars for their county. And that's what's pushing this project over the edge to happen, to put 50 units in rural communities in that area. Because it's much like here, we don't operate in Red Wing. We operate in the county outside of it. So that 89,000 is a small amount for some of these projects. Some, I mean, Habitat, I know last year had asked for 150,000 for a project that is still sitting there for them to use because that project fell through. That happened before my time, and I don't really know all the ins and outs of that, but that's just an example of one project. They were looking at 150,000 to make it happen.
One last question, and this is a difficult one, and I don't expect you to answer it. Something to take back to the SEMCRA board is, do you think that SEMCRA is the best, is the organization best suited to administer the Housing Trust Fund in terms of your bandwidth? We had a short conversation, I and a couple others, with Habitat for Humanity, and they seem to have the expertise and the interest in this as well. But if you can get back to me later about why we should stick with SEMCRA, this is just one commissioner. This is nothing don't overreact to this, but just help make the case why SEMCRA is the agency best suited to administer this county housing trust fund.
Commissioner Elsing's asked for the floor, and then you, Commissioner Ward.
I'll defer.
Okay.
Just because I sit on the Hampshire board and such, part of the problem is you have to have a willing private business builder that wants to
Yep.
do this segment of the, the building and
Yep.
such. And right now, they can make a whole lot more money building just a private. So
Yep.
to get the builder interested, to jump through all the hoops and everything is part of the struggle. I don't know, this new housing thing that passed at the federal level, I don't know what that's gonna do for the housing market. Every day I get solicited, they want me to do, they want me to downsize and build a new house. And there's really a lot of things on the market now that are inexpensive, highly efficient, and we have to change. I think as a society, we have to change. We don't need the 3-car garage and the family rec room and the 3 offices because they're working from home and everything. We've totally overbuilt our housing system, and we have to kind of, I think, adjust to what we can afford. And interest rates, they just said interest rates are high right now. So I have no problem just kind of sitting for like waiting a year, leaving that 89,000 to work if it needs to, and go from there.
Mr. Elsing.
Yeah, I think if we had a defined reason that we could see a guaranteed economic short and long-term situation with this right now. But the one thing I can promise you is that people will have to pay their taxes. There's no maybe there. So this is where this is an opportunity for us to say, hey, sure, it might not be ideal in the grand scheme of what you guys have focused, but I think for right now, the continuance of you get your feet on the ground, come back to us some super good projects that we think, hey, yeah, here's an economic return for the county. I think that would make a lot of sense. If that fund was at 0, this would be a different conversation. But again, I'm going to support, I guess, a second to your motion, amended motion.
So I would like to hear from commissioners who haven't had a chance to speak. Commissioner Olson, everything you want to share with us?
I'm not going to support the motion. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm not going to support this motion either. I feel like it's backsliding. It took us a while to get to 130,000 for over a decade. That levy remained flat at 100,000. I had a conversation with Buffy a couple years ago, Buffy Brannick, and I said, what would it take for us to be able to expand the low-income housing in Winona? And she said, well, you're going to need to increase the levy. So I would support either the 130, but I would also love to give SEMTRA the full 144,000. So I won't be supporting this motion. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Ward.
You mentioned the housing in Winona County, and I think there is a big need in the city of Winona. So I think the city of Winona needs to step up and be a better partner in all of this.
This is the rural side of this is what we have to represent, which is what this has a direct impact on. And, this is us saying, hey, we feel that in our districts, this is what our people want. So.
And if I could just speak to what you're talking about, the underfunding it in a year, you come with a year like this where we're talking about maybe 10,000 in that fund or nothing at all, or 25,000 was the initial modest request. And like we talked about, a project it could need 150,000 to get that thing going, to get it off the ground. And let's say next year we do have one that wants to go, and if some of these smaller projects have eaten away at some of those funds, is the board, is the county, the taxpayer have the appetite to come up with 150,000 right now in addition to make a project go? And that's where these really sit. And I go back to Goodhue County where we had two projects that are 100,000 plus that came to us this year. Nothing that significant last year, and they had been putting in a regular amount into their housing trust fund. Yes, it sits as a slush, essentially, I mean, to use your terminology, but at some point when 2 great projects come up, renovating an old school to turn it into 50 housing units, that came up, and I doubt at this point And with the sentiment regarding, tighter budgets, that they were going to kick in $150,000 this tax year to make that happen if the funds weren't already there. And I think that's what you're looking at is it's more piecing in money into an envelope, much like budgeting at home. You're budgeting out so much a year that you want towards that. So when the big project, your big vacation or your big home renovation comes up, you have that money that you've put away. And that's more the way I think of that 25,000.
Commissioner Bagley. Oh, did I
Oh,
give
you
it
did.
to you? I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't want to keep dragging this out, but the allocation of funds is always a difficult thing. And I guess the issue is I take it from a taxpayer's perspective. And I go back to what I originally said. If there is a project that makes fiscal sense, financial sense, of course, we're going to take a look at it. And I think you're probably talking to the hardest person up here when it comes to that type of thing. So if and when that does, I could see us coming up very easily with the funds if this makes sense to just take tax. Like I said, the taxpayer will have to pay their taxes, not maybe if we could, we might, a whole bunch of this. And that's what taxpayers don't like is taking the control of their money where they're not making the interest on it. They don't get to decide to do with it, putting it into a fund on a what if. So our job is when these opportunities do come in and say, hey, taxpayers, we didn't fund this last year. We're going to overfund it this year because we got a great opportunity. What they don't want to see is a storehouse of their money that they can't use when they need it. They're not making the interest on it. They're not benefiting from it until we decide as a government entity to use it. The slush fund aspect is a disappointing thing because it doesn't allow who we represent to manage their money. We've decided to manage it for them, and there's no economic benefit for them in the interim. So that's where we need to be careful. So to say that we might have a project and we need to gain all this money and sit on all this, because it's their money, not ours, to me is detrimental because it disenfranchises and takes the ability for them to manage their own money until we say, hey, here's the economic return for you. So I think we need to be careful that we set that precedent that we know how to manage their money better than they do. And so that's where when these opportunities arise, that's why I say if we had something on the docket today, absolutely, we should be looking at that. But because we don't, I don't want to just continue to put money into an account. So if we have to fund this, if there's a great opportunity, brought 150,000, if there's a $150,000 opportunity that we can see a return on that, I'd be more than willing to sell that to my constituents and say, hey, this is awesome. We're a declining county. We need housing to this extent to attract people here. But when nothing's on the record as far as what we're going to do, it's very hard for me to go out and say, hey, keep putting some more money into the hat that you can't control, that you lose the opportunity to lose or make money off them. So that's why I just can't support the blind taking of money without a cause. So that's why I'm going to continue to support the motion.
So Justin, the last 2 years, I supported the full requests that Buffy brought before us. And both years, and last year specifically, I said, next year, please tell us how this benefits the taxpayers of Winona County. I realized that there was a change in that position. So I am going to vote against the current motion, but I would vote in favor of the original 130 to maintain the existing. And just for speaking for myself only, Justin, I know it's tough because you're 4 months into a very important and difficult job that has many different counties that you work with and entities. I want to show you some grace as well. But if you next year when you come before us, make a case why this housing trust fund, like give us examples of what it has done or specific examples about what it's going to do for next year. So I'm going to vote against the current motion, but I would vote for Commissioner Ward, your original motion for 130,000.
Okay.
The motion on the table is 119. So call the question.
Okay. So the motion on the table is to approve the preliminary levy resolution at 119,706. All those in favor, please signify, this motion was made by Commissioner Ward and it's been seconded by Commissioner Elson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
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 Okay, motion does not pass.
I'll split the baby. I'll make a motion for 130,000 of last year's funding level.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Commissioner Olson moves and Commissioner Bagley seconds, approving the preliminary levy resolution at 130,000, which was last year's amount of funding. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
The motion does carry.
Thank you, just.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for stepping up and taking over Buffy's job.
Yeah.
And please put on your agenda the city of Winona. Request funding.
Will do, will do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for coming. Okay, we are about at the close of our regular meeting. So Commissioner Vagley, you had some comments?
First of all, I want to thank the Ripple Group and the mothers who worked to organize the United Against Fentanyl walk that took place this last Saturday at Wyndham Park. I don't know what the official number is. I would estimate at least 200 people came to that event. There were lots of different nonprofits. I saw at least 6 or 7 members of the Winona Police Department there. A lot of people impacted, people from our treatment court, Bill Moe and others. It was a great event put on by Malia Fox. I want to thank them for all the work that they're doing. Since our last meeting, I've attended three different funerals or celebration of lives. I want to extend my condolences to the family of Jerry Miller for the loss of his wife, Susan Miller. Susan was very active in our community and worked on many different charities and causes. Also want to extend my condolences to the family of Tom Wynn. Tom has been very active in the Chamber of Commerce, former CEO of Peerless Chain, the Winona Community Foundation, Winona State Community Foundation, very active in St. Paul's Episcopal Church. He and his wife have also become very active in the day and night shelters, the homeless shelters in town. And his funeral, it was an overflowing audience at St. Paul's. Lastly, I want to extend my condolences to Lindsay Brandt for the loss of her husband. That event, memorial service was this past Sunday at the American Legion. 2 other quick comments. I want to just quickly state on the record again that I am very interested in continuing the conversation to have the city, police department, and the county sheriff's department work together and stay at the law enforcement center. I think it's important that we continually point out that the county is a willing and eager partner to keep those 2 departments together. And lastly, about the dispatch center, I want to thank again Mr. Sadler, Ms. Solti, and the others who brought that forward. I strongly support the short-term and long-term needs, and I'm very committed to fixing the problem with our current dispatch center and keeping it a local dispatch center. At some point in the future, we could have discussions about regionalization, but now we should focus on solving this problem for this emergency, 911 service in the time being. So I want to thank everyone and express my strong support for doing what it takes to fix this solution in the short term. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Elsing.
Yeah, just wanted to thank everybody that came out to the county fair. Great attendance and opportunity. I believe it was Saturday morning to, as we do every year, go up and buy some 4-H ribbons. It was amazing the money that was generated. It's public record. Everybody knows, I bought a $2,000 duck and I don't even get the duck. So we bought a $2,000 goat, $1,500 sheep. So, we're fortunate and blessed to be able to help the 4-H kids out as well as donate to the fair, my company. And we try to extend those back, but it was great to see. I talked with Cindy Tim in the office and Phil Tessing. I caught some of the 4-H people. Obviously 4-H attendance is way up, and it is awesome to start to see some of these barns filling up and just some of the projects that are being done are pretty amazing what these kids are coming up with. So great year. Thursday, I was out in Nebraska. I came home late Thursday. The wife and I went up, walked the fair about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and there was just the tractor pull going on. So no major event, and it was difficult to find a place to park. So that is a good problem to have. And obviously there was some weather on Wednesday. I had heard, I was in a different state, but other than that, the weather was great. It was warm. It was typical county fair weather. And I had the privilege of running the payloader, one of the payloaders at both the trailer events, the trailer races, and you couldn't find a place to park in those pits. I mean, it was just packed. So very fortunate to have such a great county fair. It's one of the higher attended ones in the state. I think it's top 5. I believe it's right up there at the top. And if you do our contribution to that, it's 50 cents per person. on a tax basis is just very, very inexpensive what that is from us. So to be able to provide something that so many people take advantage of and it's open to everybody. So, another great organization that is very, very low cost to the taxpayer. So just want to appreciate everybody that participated in that. I also wanted to extend some condolences to the Dean Newslock family. He had passed away in kind of a tragic tractor accident. Dean was a great guy, drove by his place twice a day, 4 times a day, every day for 20 some years. So I used to stop in and talk with him every once in a while. So and condolences to them and the Brand family and everybody that was related to him. So thanks again, everybody, for a great county fair season, and get your kids in 4-H.
Yeah, following along with Commissioner Elsing's, the fair, we did have our extension meeting, and I will ask the
I
extension.
was gone for that.
Yeah,
yeah.
staff to send out, I don't have handouts for everybody, but their numbers are outstanding. Community club youth enrollment is like 409. But partnership youth enrollment, that's where they're going to the schools, the libraries, different community things, 375. So they have impacted 784 youth just this summer. We did have, I think, 133 auction participants. Great number, the
I have not
livestock.
seen the total. Sorry,
Yeah,
I haven't seen the total,
No.
but I think it's gonna do well.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Master Gardeners is growing. Master Gardeners a couple years ago was down to just a real handful of people. They've gotten some really good numbers. We also have Master Naturalists. That's more the forest and the trees, and that program is growing. One of the neat things, and I'll have them send this out. We have a young gentleman, Audric. Can't think of his last name. They didn't give me his last name. He's an outstanding young man that does all these projects, and you sit back and you listen to him, and he's like a little old man in a kid's body. I mean, his language and his conversation is just outstanding. But he is one of 5 Minnesota 4-H youth representatives that got a prestigious Roth Scholars Program. And I'm not real familiar with this. It's a national leadership initiative, but he will be doing things throughout the community for leadership, and just an outstanding. And so one of 5 across the whole state, I think is pretty awesome. And then coming up, put on your calendar, September 27th, one of their main fundraisers is the Fall Harvest Festival at the 4-H building at the County Fair. Secondly, we had a shack meeting June 25th. Up in Minneapolis. One of the big things is there is still money for clean water. And I know the Soil and Water Conservation District, they had the tap-in program at the fair. Ripple had a booth at the fair. But there is still money. If people have not had their private wells tested, please reach out, get your private well tested. There's still money for improving your own water. One of the things, cannabis, public health is still very concerned about cannabis. And they talked about different things coming in that people don't even know about, and how they're being regulated, and how we're even knowing what some of these, they call it kratom. They refer to it as gas station heroin.
Yeah,
That's pretty
not
scary.
THC.
No, that's pretty scary. And that stuff is coming in, and it is pretty scary there. Data centers were also talked about. There's a lot of concern about data centers and how it relates to public health. Some of these very high transmission lines that are coming across southern Minnesota, people are concerned if this has a public health issue. So they're following up with that. Good meeting. Unfortunately, the Commissioner of Health wasn't there. And as I've always said, unfortunately or fortunately, our commissioners across the state of Minnesota are political appointees. We will have a changing of the guard this fall. So we will probably all have new commissioner of health, community corrections, public safety, DNR, all those things will be probably new leadership. And there will be a huge education curve to educate these new people coming into these positions, to get them tuned into how counties function within the state system. And so we did ask, we have a legislative aide to maybe start coming up with that postcard thing of how we can educate the new commissioner, assuming it's a new, it usually is, commissioner of health, how they should work with counties. And that takes care of it. Thank you.
Mr. Olson.
I just want to echo Commissioner Bagley's statement regarding the police and sheriff. I have worn out my welcome with several city council people and the mayor. Reminding them that this isn't a city county, it comes down to the taxpayer, and we're gonna be paying for the same service twice. That we now share in one facility. And accepting the 7.9 million from the state's gonna cost us 30 million extra. So it doesn't make fiscal sense, so you could tell Jerome that when you get home.
Commissioner Bagley, you had to throw something else in?
I just wanted, one more note is, I believe this past Saturday was Jennifer Lavala's last day of official appointment. I want to thank Jennifer for going above and beyond her whole career, but especially in this last couple of weeks, she and Ben Klinger and the sheriff and chief deputy, what they've been doing, driving back and forth to Rice and Steele counties and all the work. So thank you, Jennifer. And all the other folks working, Ben Klinger and others who've been doing that work to hopefully get us through this rough patch, hopefully a shorter rough patch, so we can get right the ship and move to, hopefully find enough staff and then some to hopefully avoid this problem in the future, because this is a very serious problem. Thank you, Jennifer.
I just wanted to say that we got an email from the Minnesota Department of Ag that the spongy moth flyover and pheromone distribution to control the pest is done. So.
I'm sorry. I do have to acknowledge Rebecca Church, John Hazelton, and Charles Rebecki all had booths at the county fair. And that was greatly appreciated by the constituency, that people are out there letting them know what they stand for, how they're going to work for Winona County and everything. They were very well received. And again, it outstanding. I know it's a lot of work, and they did appreciate knowing the people that are trying to run for Winona County government. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Olson moves, Commissioner Bagley seconds, motion to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If anyone's opposed, nay. We are adjourned. 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and then we'll move into committee of the board.
For the audience, committee of the board is over.
The first item is to discuss a potential Selco presentation from Selco on how they distribute the library funding. I see that in our packet on page 155, we did get a little chart. But the question is, do we want more than this? Commissioner Vagley.
Well, I guess maybe I was gonna make a motion to, I guess again, this is committee of the board, but just an indication that, I would support 10.1 and maybe link 10.2 it as well, to have that discussion and then to have the discussion about freezing it. So we're right now, we're not deciding.
No.
We're discussing moving it to a
We're gonna-
formal.
yep.
Right.
Yep, so we need 3 votes, and you are suggesting that we should do 10.1 and 10.2. I'll agree with that.
I would too.
Okay.
And the question, and I posed it to several people who approached me, is that I'm unclear how Selco is operating their budget. I mean, even if we freeze it, so that means, somebody's not getting a pay rate, or, how do they just, and then how do they distribute their funds? What's their formula? Selco is what and maybe are you a couple Selco ladies? Okay, we'll put you on a future agenda of, how many other counties are impacted and stuff like that. So we need to be educated.
Yep, I think it'd be helpful for them if you could, if we have, not just you, Commissioner
Questions.
Ward, if we have questions, to give them to Ms. Holte, to give them to you guys, so you have a better sense of what's coming at you.
And
I'd say you guys look like librarians.
That's a compliment.
goodness sakes.
Yeah, you look like librarians.
Unlike Aaron Lafleur back there.
He looks like a maintenance guy.
Also, in recent, like in the last week, I've gotten some emails with kind of a new argument in favor of the library that had to do with like proportionality, right? They're saying that the city contributes more per person than we do or whatever. And I was interested in hearing their rationale for that, like just so that I could better understand numerically what it is we're talking about. You guys are familiar with that?
Can you say that again? The city
Well, is the
contributes?
city mandated a certain amount? We're mandated by,
Well, those are all great
legislation.
questions. Okay. so
Yeah.
Let's,
is
yeah.
the city mandated.
I'm not the expert.
Yeah, and being an informal meeting, I guess sometimes when I look at these situations, and this is something in real estate, I always say. Now, if you want to put in a grand door, that's fine, but there's a certain amount of base cost to operate something. A front door costs the same as front door regardless of the situation. It might arguably cost a little more based on locale, what to put it in. But if I call up a door company, I'm gonna pay the same, right? Same thing with the cost of concrete, same thing with the window, same thing with the HVA system, costs a certain amount to buy a furnace, doesn't matter what it's going into. So you have your operational base cost. And so to me, when we look at proportionate funding, we have to look at it in that aspect. And then you go up and above based on size per capita and everything else. That's the reality of it. So we keep that in mind to me when we look at dispersing things. If somebody says something's out of whack, it doesn't pay. And I see that in the real estate world, especially dealing with post offices and big companies and things like that. They want to try to base it on a square foot and downsize it all the way up and down. And that's always my argument back. So keep that in mind.
Okay, all right.
So is the
Yep.
county board? Yeah,
But,
Yeah,
okay.
okay,
more information,
More information is good.
please.
all right.
And after that, we could decide to freeze or.
Right.
Yep.
To
Yep.
table it.
This is just a discussion.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so item 10.3.
Ms. Holte, is that what you need to then move
Yep.
that? Perfect.
10.3, discuss acceptance of wooden flag, American flag for display in the boardroom.
Okay,
I
I
have some
have,
pictures. Do you have
I-
you have an actual sample?
I have the one.
One of three, right?
Well,
At least there's
I
three in
was
the
not-
picture.
They were all sold. I had committed to this.
Oh.
obviously, even if you didn't go along with it. 250 years. This boardroom's pretty blah.
There's a
I
whole,
think a decorator,
whole
I
blank
think a
wall back
decorator
there.
would say we need a little.
There's a whole blank wall back
But
there.
I saw this at, it's a local constituent, Jeff, Yant up by, you may know Robin. Robin's been a Wilson Township supervisor, or as a clerk for many years. He makes these. And I just thought 250 years, we're the county board in the 250-year celebration. I also would like to, so this would not be county funds. This is county commissioner funds. Pay for I already paid for it, but hopefully you'll contribute. And then us to make a small plaque to put under it saying, in 2026, the Winona County Board and list us contributed this to
Happy birthday. Yeah.
happy birthday and such. But I thought it's unique. It's not just a flat piece. And I just thought it was kind of cool.
What was the total cost, Commissioner? And thank you for doing that. This is a great idea. I love the idea of the county board giving a 250th birthday gift to the future county resident. Commissioner, it's a great idea. How much was the total cost, Commissioner Ward?
It's not. You already put.
Tell everybody it's 125 and keep the math simple.
Or throw in.
Well, that's what I heard. What did she?
20, I said, just tell them it's 125, so the math is simple.
Okay, so, yeah.
Let's throw a little extra for the
Right,
plaque.
so because this is committee of the board,
Right.
we need 3 votes to advance it.
Sure.
And I support the next conversation.
Yep.
Totally.
And I guess if the staff, and sorry, Aaron, if you could help us figure out like what a little plaque would cost so we can fully cover the costs
Yeah.
of that. That's a great idea.
You know, a plaque maker.
Oh, absolutely.
Just tell us.
Good morning.
Or
If the board does decide to,
This is.
for the record, this is Aaron with Winona County Building Maintenance. If the county board does decide to donate this plaque or whatever, I would look at some consideration on where to place it. There is flag etiquette rules. Since we already have one American flag in the room, it's supposed to be facing a certain direction. If there's 2 of them and they're supposed to be matching, I don't have all the rules memorized. We had something we could look at. Another thing would, if it did make the boardroom, a lobby or something like that, something like that. So
would this, technically, it's not a flag. It's just a representation of a flag. It'd be no different than a flag in a picture or a picture of a flag, correct? So I think it's got a different set of rules when it.
yep, there is. I did just a quick Google this morning. It did come up, even if it is a wooden
Really?
flag for dimensions, it still has to have the
So that was
focus
aware
of
of
the.
that, but I thought a picture was different than the actual flag.
Yeah.
So.
So it's just
But we can
something we
figure
would have
it
to look into, yes.
Sure.
And if you could help us figure out the plaque
the plaque,
cost
yeah.
as well, so the board could totally cover it, so.
Yes, we
Okay.
can do that.
All right,
Technically, this is 2
Thank you.
games.
great. So.
Thank you, Aaron.
It's our business for the committee of the board.
Motion to adjourn.
I don't think we
I
even.
think we need one.
No.
We're good.
We're adjourned.
All right. Okay.
Commissioner Ward, do you want money now or should we wait?
No, we can
Okay.
wait till we know what the plaque's gonna cost.